That cold hose you blast your engine with is warping the head. That low fuel light you ignore is cooking your fuel pump. That cold throttle is grinding your cam dry. You think you are taking care of your Honda. You are quietly killing it. These engines die from daily habits, not hard miles. 7 of them, and the worst ends in a $4,000 teardown. Let's count down. Number 7. Blasting your hot engine with a cold hose. You roll in from a long summer ride, the bike is coated in bugs and road film, and you reach for the pressure washer while the engine is still ticking. Here is what is really happening. The head and cases on a Honda run hot, anywhere from 200 to 250 degrees on a liquid-cooled 4, and far hotter on an air-cooled single or twin like an older CB or an SR-style thumper. Hit that aluminum with cold water and you drop the surface temperature 100 degrees in seconds. That is thermal shock. Aluminum hates sudden swings, and over time you get warped fins, stressed gasket surfaces, and on liquid-cooled bikes, water forced past seals into places it was never meant to go. I had a Goldwing come into the shop with a weeping head gasket and an electrical gremlin that turned out to be water sitting in a connector, all from a rider who pressure washed it hot every weekend. That repair ran him about $700, and a dealer would have charged closer to $1,100. He thought he was being a responsible owner. He washed it more than anyone I know. And every wash was taking life off the bike. Worse, on a chrome and alloy bike, the thermal cycling dulls finishes and cracks coatings you paid a premium for. And on anything liquid-cooled, the radiator fins are soft aluminum that a pressure washer folds flat. Choking the cooling, the engine depends on in traffic. The fix costs nothing but patience. Let the engine cool at least 45 minutes before any water touches it. Skip the pressure washer entirely because it drives water deep into seams and connectors. In a hurry? Point an infrared thermometer at the head and wait until it reads under 120 degrees. A gentle hose and lukewarm water once the bike is cool is all it ever needs. Park it in the shade, let it settle, then wash it like something you want to keep. Heat is the thread running through this whole list, and it shows up again right away. Number 6. Riding around on a near-empty tank. You catch the low fuel light, figure you have another 40 miles in you, and run it down to fumes before every fill-up. The problem lives inside the tank where you cannot see it. On every fuel-injected Honda, from a little Rebel to a full-dress Goldwing, the fuel pump sits submerged in the tank and uses the gasoline around it to stay cool and lubricated. Ride low all the time and that pump runs hot and dry, pulling air and sucking up whatever sediment has settled at the bottom. A part rated to last the life of the bike can fail at 30 to 50,000 miles if running on fumes becomes your habit. The first sign is a faint whine from under the tank, then hard starts, then a stutter at highway speed as the pump loses pressure under load. By the time you hear that whine, the pump is already on borrowed time. I have replaced pumps on bikes that should have had decades left, on everything from a Rebel to a Goldwing, and the bill lands between $300 and $700 once you count the labor to drop the tank. Worse, the trash you pull off the bottom of a starved tank clogs the injectors, and those are not cheap either. What gets me is that it is completely self-inflicted. The pump is not weak. It is just being starved of the cooling it was built to have, mile after mile, until it gives up on a hot day miles from home. The fix is free. Refuel before you drop below a quarter tank, and in summer heat or heavy traffic, keep it closer to half. Picture it this way. Every mile on fumes is a mile that pump spends cooking itself, with no warning light until the day it quits. That gasoline is not just fuel. It is the only thing keeping the pump alive. And the next habit moves the damage from the fuel system into the heart of the engine. Number 5. Hammering a cold engine before the oil is up. You fire the bike up on a cold morning, blip the throttle a few times because it sounds good, then pull onto the road and wind it out. Here is the deal. When the engine is cold, the oil is thick and slow, and it has not yet reached the cam, the valve train, the top end, or the bearings. On a high-revving Honda 4, those tolerances are tight, and they depend on a full oil film from the first second. Crack the throttle wide before the oil is up there, and you are running metal on metal at the exact moment it needs lubrication most. Cold oil is thick, thick oil is slow, and slow oil leaves the top end dry. Air-cooled Hondas suffer worst because they have no coolant to manage warm-up heat and lean entirely on oil and airflow. I have pulled valve covers on bikes with scored cam lobes and worn rockers at under 20,000 miles, every one ridden hard from a cold start through a cold winter. One owner swore he babied his Africa Twin, then admitted he revved it to clear his throat every frosty morning in the driveway. That habit alone wiped the KM. You are looking at a $600 to $1,100 valve train repair, and on a 4-cylinder it climbs from there. The fix takes under a minute. Start the bike, let it idle 30 to 60 seconds, then ride gently for the first few miles with no hard pulls until there is heat in the engine. Here is a tip from the shop floor. The engine warms up faster moving under light load than sitting in the driveway, so the kindest thing you can do is ride away gently rather than idle and rev 30 seconds at the lever, then roll out easy. That is the whole secret. Most of the wear a Honda ever sees happens in those first cold minutes. Treat them with respect. The next one is the part of your bike working hardest while you ignore it completely. Number 4, neglecting your chain. On every chain drive Honda, and that is most of them, the chain is the hardest working and most ignored part of the whole bike. A dry chain wears fast, and it takes the front and rear sprockets down with it. A chain run too tight loads the output shaft bearing and the swing arm. A chain run too loose can slap, jump a tooth, or in the worst case, come off at speed and lock the rear wheel or punch through a case. Here is what most riders never learn. You clean and lube the chain every 300 to 500 miles, and after every single ride in the rain. You check the tension every few hundred miles, because chains stretch as they wear, and you inspect for kinked links, rust, and dried out O-rings. Here is the quick test. Put the bike on the stand, spin the wheel, and watch the chain. A healthy chain runs smooth and quiet. A tired one has tight spots, stiff links, and a dry rasp you can hear. If you can pull a link away from the rear sprocket far enough to see daylight behind the tooth, that chain and sprocket are finished. A chain and sprocket set runs $200 to $400 depending on the model. A chain that lets go at speed costs far more than that, and not just in money. I have seen a snapped chain crack an engine case on a CBR, turning a $40 maintenance habit into a 4-figure repair. And a chain that grabs and locks the rear wheel at speed is not just a repair bill, it is a crash waiting to happen. The fix is the cheapest insurance in motorcycling. A rag, a brush, a can of proper chain lube, and 10 minutes. Never use the wrong stuff either, because some sprays fling off or attack the rubber O-rings that seal grease inside each link. Skip the maintenance and the drivetrain quietly eats itself. Get in the habit and a chain will outlast 2 sets of tires. Number 3, riding the clutch in the friction zone. The next habit cooks a part most riders do not even realize uses the same oil as the engine. If you are getting something out of this, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. This is the one I see every week. Riders feathering the clutch in traffic, creeping along with the lever half pulled, telling themselves it is gentler on the bike. On a Honda, it is the opposite, and here is why it matters more than on some bikes. Almost every Honda runs a wet clutch that shares its oil with the engine and gearbox in one common sump. Slip that clutch and the friction plates build heat fast, and that heat goes straight into the same oil your engine depends on. Once the plates cross 300 degrees, the friction material glazes, hardens, and loses its bite for good. The first sign is the bike creeping at idle or a faint burnt smell when you park. Then the clutch starts to slip under load, revs climbing while the speed does not. But the hidden cost is the oil itself, because cooking it in the clutch breaks it down everywhere, robbing the cam and bearings of protection. I have seen clutch packs glazed in under 5,000 miles from pure city riding, and a replacement runs $300 to $600 once you are in there. On a shared sump Honda, the bill rarely stops at the clutch, because the cooked oil takes its toll on the gears and bearings too. The fix is to treat the clutch like a switch. Full in or full out, nothing held in between. Use the friction zone only for takeoff and tight low-speed turns, and when you are stuck in a jam, drop into neutral and give the plates a rest. Your left hand has 2 jobs, not 3. Pull it in, let it out, and leave the halfway position for the few seconds you actually need it. Break that habit, and the clutch, and the oil it uses, both last far longer. Number 2, stretching your oil change interval. This is the most well-known habit on the list, and it is still one of the most common. On a Honda, it carries extra weight because that single fill of oil is lubricating your engine, your gearbox, and your wet clutch all at once. It works 3 jobs, and when it breaks down, all 3 suffer together. Here is the range to know. Most Hondas call for an oil change somewhere between 3,000 to 8,000 miles, and the spread is intentional. A small thumper or a hard-ridden 4 wants the shorter end. A modern Goldwing on full synthetic doing steady highway miles can stretch toward the longer end. But short trips, traffic, heat, and high revs all break oil down faster than the standard interval assumes. Think about that. The number on the page was never written for your commute. Run it long and the oil loses its additive package, and you start seeing cam wear, a noisy valve train, gritty shifting, and a clutch that drags. I have torn into engines where the owner called the oil overdue and it came out like dark syrup, with cams worn smooth and sludge packed in the cases. That is a teardown, not a service. And here is the part that catches people out. Severe service, which means short trips, stop-and-go traffic, cold weather, and hard revving, all count against you, and that describes how most people actually ride. So the interval on the page assumes easier conditions than your real week. A $30 oil change is the cheapest insurance in motorcycling. When in doubt, go shorter, check your manual, and trust your eyes and nose. Clean oil looks clean and smells normal. Dark, burnt oil is your engine asking for help. Pull the dipstick now and then. Look at it, smell it. Your engine will tell you when it is thirsty long before it fails if you bother to check. And the habit at number 1 is the one almost every Honda owner skips, and it ends in the biggest bill of all. And finally, number 1, skipping your valve clearance checks. This is the habit that ends in the most expensive repair on the entire list, and it is the one Honda owners talk themselves out of more than any other because the bike feels fine. And that is the trap. It feels fine right up until it does not. Here is the deal. Honda engines use precise valve clearances, and the factory sets a check interval for a reason, usually somewhere between 16,000 and 26,000 miles depending on the model. As the engine runs, the valve seats and the contact surfaces wear, and the clearance slowly changes. On most Hondas, the gap tightens over time. A valve that no longer closes all the way cannot shed its heat into the seat, so it runs hotter and hotter until the edge burns away. The cruel part is that a tight valve makes almost no noise. There is no rattle, no warning light, just a quiet loss of compression, and then one day a burnt valve and a dead cylinder. People skip it because the check itself is not glamorous and the bike feels perfect, so they roll past the interval at 20,000, then 40, then 60, telling themselves they would hear a problem coming. They will not. By the time you feel it, the damage is done. A simple clearance check costs you a couple of hours and a feeler gauge or a modest shop bill. Ignore it until a valve burns and you are looking at a top-end teardown, a new valve, a seat cut, and often a head you cannot save, easily $3,000 to $4,000 on a 4-cylinder. I have seen low-mileage bikes destroyed this way, not from abuse, but from an owner who never opened the manual to the maintenance schedule. The saddest ones are the careful riders. They washed the bike, changed the oil, kept it clean, and still lost the engine over a check they did not know they owed. The fix is simple. Find your model's valve check interval, write it on the calendar, and treat it as non-negotiable. It is not a glamorous job. It will not make the bike sound better or pull harder. It just keeps the cylinder alive. Honda built these engines to run past 100,000 miles, but only if you keep the valves in spec. That one check is the difference. None of these 7 habits take more than a little time and a few dollars to fix. The Hondas that cross 100,000 miles are not lucky, and their owners do not baby them. They just stopped quietly killing them. That is the whole difference between a bike that lasts and a teardown you never saw coming. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.